currently budgeted for 17. We're cleaning more area with less people. I think we do a pretty good job. If you walk around the schools, they're clean. I just hate to see that compromised. We are cleaning on 2 schools on a rotating basis, the Hood and the Little, because we lost a floater, a 4-hour person at each school. The Hood and the Little are cleaned on a rotating basis, so not every area is cleaned every day. And under the direction of our business manager, we try to limit our overtime, so it's an ongoing issue. I would say the net result is that our schools are not as clean as or as sanitary as they could or should be. Issues such as mold and indoor air quality are always rearing their heads, and I certainly make a huge effort to make sure our schools have good air quality. And one mechanic, he works for us full-time, been with us 30 years, Ronald Dyer, an excellent employee, very qualified, very busy. He's sort of a fireman. We put out fires constantly. Additional custodial staff, additional maintenance staff would be of great benefit.
Thank you, Wayne. Okay, next question. All students are required to take a specific number of courses each year at the high school, and the question is, are all students able to get the courses they selected? If not, how would you address this situation? And again, obviously, I'm going to direct this to John, the high school principal.
Well, the short answer is no. Not all students are able to get all of the courses that they elect to take. However, all students are certainly afforded access to a full schedule. Students are required to enroll in 8 courses, and they certainly all do get 8 courses. What they may not get are the 8 that they want, particularly beyond, obviously, the core courses that they might need to have for graduation requirements. In high schools, 990 hours of instructional time is required under the state law, time and learning provisions. Students at North Reading High School exceed that requirement. But what I think is not good is that they are not able to broaden the scope of their elective experience in high school because of staffing limitations, which in one respect would limit the number of students that we're able to place in a class because the enrollment grows too high, and we may then have to give a student the second elective option that they have noted for us. But beyond that, I would say also we are looking to upgrade the level of the kinds of electives that we're going to offer students, particularly in the areas of technology, in business education, computer science, and fine arts.
Thank you, John. Recent years, the purchase of textbooks has been limited. What priorities are there for new textbooks? And we're going to direct this to Pam Bowden.
Recently, I spoke to the school committee about the curriculum review cycle that we're putting in place. And hopefully what that's going to do is allow us to identify early and project out over 5 to 10 years when we'll need to evaluate and review textbooks. The only issue that's come to our attention this year and been proposed for a new textbook is a geography in 6th grade. That's strictly an issue of competence. What we're using right now dates back to 1993. There have been substantial world changes since then that are not addressed in the textbook and in fact have caused factual inaccuracies in the textbook, which teachers have to teach to correct. So it creates quite a level of confusion among students when their main resource book isn't factually correct, and what they're relying on is giving them data that's not appropriate. So again, to maximize the competency, and it is an MCAS related issue, we're requesting that new textbooks be purchased.
Okay. And we've tried some alternatives to actually textbooks. I mean, can you comment on that briefly?
In terms of CDs versus textbooks, this would be a textbook purchase with technology support materials. We feel that in this case, the need for maps and the interaction with the text is necessary.
Did you get any feedback regarding the textbooks on CDs?
There has been no substantial feedback to my office, and according to the science department head at the high school, things have been moving along positively, and we're going to end the year with an evaluation, parent survey for evaluation.
Okay, thank you, Pam.
You're welcome.
In the last 2 years, where's Susan? We've reduced our elementary school music program. I'm going to ask Bill Lacease at the elementary school level what the impact has been of the reduction in the music program.
I think that it may seem like a small reduction, but it's impacted, I'll say at least all 3 elementary schools, and probably because we're sharing someone for instrumental music from the high school, probably high school also. You've heard about all these .2s and .3s, and Mr. Hodges being so generous with his phys ed teachers and all that. I remember one year when I had 3 phys ed teachers. However, at this point, I have 3 music teachers at my school. There are part-time people teaching. This certainly fragments the program. The boys and girls are used to having had a full-time music teacher at our school, and when I hire a music teacher, I try to find that needle in the haystack who can do all the instrumental as well as all the general music classes. And anybody who's seen our shows over the years has seen a wonderful instrumental music program. I just think now that, someone comes over from the Batchelder, Sue Fisher comes over from the Batchelder to do a point 1 and do 1 grade level, and then someone else, I have a .6 person who works at another school system also, who comes and does 3 other grade levels, and then Eric Foreman, God love him, I think he's in every school in town doing the instrumental music. And it's just a fragmented program, and I know that the people of North Reading, that the arts are very important to them. I know they appreciate the artwork they see in the hallways that the art teachers do, and the musical shows that people do. And there's just no time to breathe with the tightness of the schedule. And there's just no time. I always look at it this way. There are some children who will, as adults, will make their living as artists or musicians. And so it is a very important class for them in the week. It also provides the pause that refreshes for other children who are really stressed out during the week from a fully academic, rigorous academic experience. And this does not allow a music teacher to provide any individual attention with children with unique talents to develop them. It doesn't provide them the opportunity to be able to collaborate with classroom teachers to connect their music classes with the social studies they're studying ancient Egypt or Greece, or to teach musical games. 2 years back, when I had my own full-time music teacher, they really can contribute to the culture of the school. They really become your staff member, and you get 150% because they're teaching instrumental music through their lunch hour. So restoring this position will allow all 3 elementary schools to breathe easier, and will certainly be great benefit to the boys and girls who it will either make their future as a musician or an artist, or it will serve them as a lifelong pleasure skill.
Thank you, Bill. Sean?
Just off that, with the reduction in the past couple of years with the music and the physical education, it really has made those curriculum areas, I know administratively, a challenge to schedule our teacher planning periods, manipulating schedules so we can get every teacher a planning period every day. And it has taken away that curriculum connection of what those programs bring to students, and I think it truly is a shame.
Thank you, Sean. I'm going to ask one of the elementary school principals, and whoever wants to volunteer. We heard Wayne talk about the reduction in the staff, the custodial staff. We've also had some reductions in the budget for building maintenance, and I'm going to ask one of the principals at the elementary school level to tell me what the impact has been at the building.
There's nothing that bothers me more than to have elementary children come in at the start of the day and for their classroom not to be swept, or for their rugs not to be able to be cleaned. It bothers me tremendously, and that's no reflection. I have excellent custodians who do as much as they can, but it's not acceptable to, and Wayne's is outstanding in responding to our needs. It's just unacceptable for the whole building not to be cleaned every day.
And that's a problem because of the staffing situation.
Right, our custodian, the custodian that the hood shares with the little was eliminated.
Okay.
And we added classrooms.
Yeah?
We've had the addition of modular classrooms and an increase in enrollment, and then a cut in custodial staff, and it's just created a huge burden on our custodial staff. Our teachers have really stepped up to the plate in assisting the custodial staff with, offering to help out and taking on that extra responsibility by doing a little cleanup at the end of the day to help the custodial staff. Students have taken on extra responsibility. it's taken away a little bit of the instructional time for that reason, and it's harder to achieve a sense of pride in school when kids feel as though the bathrooms aren't clean. A little more vandalism is taking place, so it affects the whole school.
Thank you, Thea. Next question, we've talked already about the NEASC report, and I think John has already mentioned that the issues with the guidance counselors at the high school. And the question, John, is the NEASC report did note some compliance issues at the high school with the high school guidance department. Could you review what those findings were and discuss what you need to do to address this issue? And I think previously you'd mentioned that there should be one guidance counselor for every 300 students.
The New England Association of Schools and Colleges recommends one counselor for every 300 students. And again, just very quickly, the enrollment at the high school currently is 654 students. So we're already out of,
We have two, right?
we have two guidance counselors, yes. We're out of compliance as far as the NEAS recommendation goes. And we're expecting an increase in enrollment next year, as I said earlier. Beyond that, I think the expectations that we have of the guidance counselors are ever increasing. We have two wonderful guidance counselors that are new this year, both of them. They've done an outstanding job so far. They're servicing senior students with the whole college application process. Down the road is where I'm looking at. I have a sophomore class coming that is 194 students right now. That's substantially higher than the senior class right now, which I believe is 153, and somewhere around 145 in the junior class. So we're seeing more students coming along who are going to have greater needs as they become juniors and seniors in terms of the whole college application process. But beyond that, the services that a guidance counselor provides on a daily basis are compromised because they're servicing so many students. An additional recommendation in terms of guidance that NEASC has offered is one that is would hopefully be a restoration of a cut. The clerical staff, the secretary in the guidance office right now is a 6/10 position, not a full-time position. And NEASC is recommending, and certainly I am recommending, that be restored as a full-time position for what I think is an obvious reason: to support the counselors in the work that they have to do. There's a tremendous amount of paperwork that goes through guidance, and it's not paperwork. Fortunately, we haven't made a mistake, and it's not paperwork that you can afford to make a mistake on. Student transcripts going out to colleges, letters of recommendation, and things of that nature. So the secretary plays a critical role in that office.
Thank you, John. Pam, we have one certified librarian to service 5 schools. What is the need, or is there a need for an additional librarian?
There's an incredible need for an additional librarian. Where we're at right now is I feel that the libraries are underused because they're understaffed. As you said, we have one certified librarian who splits her time, or tries to split her time, between 5 schools. The recommendation is for a certified middle school librarian to start to redevelop the program here and really bring in the pieces of media literacy that need to be addressed through the library. Library is not merely a place to house books. It's an active classroom, and it needs to be staffed in that way. The person that they have at the middle school, and Dick will speak to this, does a wonderful job, but doesn't have everything that a certified librarian would bring to the position. It's also an issue of compliance, once again. In this case, we're looking at the Mass standards for libraries that says a school library should have one certified librarian, and in having that, that allows us then to apply for certain grants that we're now not able to apply for, as well as gain access into the Northeast Massachusetts Regional Library System, which gives us access to online databases and periodicals that we're not allowed to access. And the other pieces we're beginning to look at and need to bring online an automated catalog system, which we would need a certified librarian to oversee.
Thank you, Pam. Wayne, we've talked about the reduction of the custodial staff. Our schools are used by a lot of groups now, and there's a lot of activity at all the schools. Are there ways to increase the productivity and efficiency of the staff, or does it come down basically to needing more staff?
Well, I suppose what I said before, we need more staff. A goal of mine is, because of the tremendous use of our schools and tremendous pressure on our schools, many of our schools are open 7 days a week, not just educationally, but for CCD, sporting activities, by inside groups, outside groups, tremendous pressure. Staffing is an issue, cleaning is an issue. We've had seminars on back safety, back training, lifting, efficient use of equipment. I'm in an ongoing program to replace a lot of worn-out, old, inefficient